Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Mistonia's Hope, continuing Linus's route. We just had an interesting altercation with him. I say that, it wasn't really an altercation, but at the same time, he was basically like, listen, if the queen tells me to kill you, I'll kill you. Not exactly his words, but underlying, read between the lines type of a thing, you know? So, anyway, because I'd contacted them in advance, both John and Goneril awaited me at the shop. Lady, did something happen? When John saw my face, his voice was colored with worry. I was no longer taken aback by John's perceptiveness. I probably looked pale as a ghost again. I'd come intending to tell them everything to start with, so with a sigh, I began narrating. Everything was well up to the point where I had an excuse to visit the child, thanks to Edward. But there I bumped into Linus. Honestly, we should have seen this coming. To find the Twilight Ravens means drawing nearer to Linus, whether I like it or not. After all, he's a coup Sith in pursuit. They've a high chance of harming the Queen. John sucked in a sharp breath. He looked at me with regret and remorse.
Yeah, you're completely right. Considering our position, it's impossible to keep House Ward at arm's length.
As she listened to John and me speak, Goneril leisurely took a puff of her pipe, mystified. I don't know what happened, but if you two become naive little chicks, I keep this up and I'll have to think twice about selling you info. What a shame. I just procured some tidbits about the Twilight Ravens. I feel like her voice is different every time, but whatever. I feel like that is not the voice she had before. That's fine. Goneril sounded exasperated, but there was no way I wouldn't jump at her words. What's this information you have on the Twilight Ravens? Please tell me.
We've only made a small error of judgment. We aren't pushovers, and doesn't our agreement state that you'll sell to us no matter what?
Sheesh! Even when you feel down, the two of you have spirit, if nothing else. Well, I don't dislike the inexperienced feel of your youth. But if you're apprehensive about clashing with Ward, won't my information go to waste? This time I sensed concern in her hesitation, but she was essentially saying the same thing. At this rate, her lips might stay closed. I can't let that happen, though. After all, now that I've lost my opportunity to see that child, we need to strive for another path. We hadn't exactly confided in Goneril about everything, most of all my identity, so I carefully selected what to share. It's not that we're apprehensive, it's just, it isn't the right time yet. If we aren't careful, our efforts will come to nothing. I ended up sounding reluctant once again. As she looked me over, Goneril raised an eyebrow. Eventually, she stood up purposefully. Yes, I hear you loud and clear. Well then, how about you work out the details with John Boy about how you're going to progress? I'm craving wine, so I'll head elsewhere for a bit. She must have deduced that there were things we couldn't discuss in front of her and gave us some privacy. She disappeared into the recesses of the shop.
You plan on staying in contact with Ward while taking care not to blow your cover. That's what you're getting at, m'lady.
After ensuring Goneril was out of earshot, John spoke up. Yes, exactly. Of course, when the time's right, I fully intend to tell Linus exactly who I am and how much I hate him and love him. But I don't have any method of vanquishing the Queen. And against House Ward, we're only two people. We can't hope to put up a fight. Though it was frustrating to admit I had witnessed their household's unity and prowess, my only choice was to acknowledge my weakness. So for now, I'll try to evade Linus's suspicion and continue looking for a way to join forces with the Twilight Ravens.
Could we use Bernstein's son? You went to the almshouse with his support, right? This time, Ward stopped you prematurely because you were alone. But if you went together, even Ward likely can interfere.
He's right. Using Edward is my safest bet. Plus, unlike Linus, Edward seems to truly believe my ordinary girl performance. Watch, he is the most fucking... He's like, no, I've known for the second you showed up who the fuck you are. You know what I mean? Excuse me? Why the fuck is my tablet not working? That's bizarre. My tablet disconnected from my interwebs because I went to go check something in the guide and my guide page wasn't working. And I'm like, excuse me? What do you mean I'm not on the internet? Okay. No, it's fine now. Edwards is the route after this, right? I was wanted to kind of... Yeah, okay. But anyway. All right. Just as I was about to agree, I heard steps approaching. Shortly thereafter, Goneril appeared with wine in hand. Well, have you devised a way to put my info to good use? More or less. So tell us what you have on the Twilight Ravens. Hearing that, Goneril smirked. Right now, the hottest gossip in town is that those ravens have got a hangout in Eden. Want to know the specific place? Eden? Hold on. I traded glances with John. John, your proposal could be useful. He's actively engaged in aiding the vulnerable. If I'm right, he drops by Eden at times.
Let's settle then.
Oh, you've finally got respectable looks on your faces. That's what I call a rewarding client. John Boy will talk payment later. Goneril smugly grinned, and I ushered her to speak. She told us the place suspected to be the Twilight Raven's hideout and a name. Leonardo. He was an info broker of sorts within the Twilight Ravens. That was the golden ticket Goneril shared with us. I returned to the Bernstein estate and was preparing to clean when I bumped into Edward in the entrance hall.
Welcome home, Space. Did you get to see him?
Before I answered, I swiftly considered his potential reactions. From this moment began a game of influence to use him for my plans. Well, I chanced upon Lord Linus in front of the almshouse.
You saw Lynn. Did he tell you to stay away from that child?
Just as I'd intended, Edward accurately predicted the outcome of our encounter. Yes, I simply ran my errands and returned.
I see. Lynn's strict about anti-royalists. I'm not surprised, yet I personally feel that interfering with your choices is too much.
Seeing the frown on Edward's face, I could have chuckled. I knew it. Being honest with him is the right thing to do. Edward has his own strong values, and they differ from Linus's on this matter. Furthermore, I felt that I'd seized the initiative. I pressed my advantage, speaking reservedly with a hint of passion. You're a kind person, Lord Edward. I've always been moved by your compassion, especially your contributions to almshouses. I even hear that in Eden you've been doing what you can for children and adults suffering from poverty. Wait, I even hear that in Eden. No, I'm just kidding. You're someone who's fair to everyone. A splendid man I respect. Could you please give me a chance to learn from your example? Pushing my acting talent to its limit, I fluttered my eyelashes, trying to look adoring. Trying to look adoring, okay. I don't know, I'm imagining this, like... Edward shuffled his feet, looking restless.
I'm not someone who deserves high praise. I'm only carrying out my obligation as a noble to protect this country. But I admit I'm happy about your wish to learn. Are you curious about the things I do?
I've been waiting for this. Satisfied that I managed to draw out the words I wanted, I smiled genuinely. Yes, very. If I may ask, please allow me to accompany you, Lord Edward.
Of course I don't mind. Well then, I shall let you know before my next visit to Eden.
The only emotion I read from Edward's eyes as he gazed at me was admiration. It seemed that I'd succeeded at obtaining my ticket to Eden without arousing any suspicion. Ever since, I visited Eden and almshouses with Edward whenever the opportunity arose. At first, Nicholas had disapproved of my following Edward to Eden, but thanks to Edward's appeals, he granted me permission. I love that, following Edward to Eden. That has some, sexy undertones. I mean, I know Eden is basically the slums, but, it just sounds like if you just read a sentence at first, Nicholas had disapproved of my following Edward to Eden. You're like, are we reading a porn novel? Is Eden a place that we go when we get high? Are we doing drugs? What's going on? You would not be like, oh, we're doing charity work in the slums. That's not where your mind would go first. Do you think they wrote that sentence and went, Sounds kind of inappropriate. Whether you're talking about, like, sexy times or, like, following Edward to Eden is, like, you know, drug code. Maids questioned my taste for wanting to go, but still gave me their blessing on a few conditions, like exchanging shifts.
Looks like you're used to this place now.
Yes, thanks to all your help, my lord. I've grown to understand how I should communicate with the children.
That's good to hear. That said, they still tend to avoid me quite often as well.
The places Edward would visit were fixed. Whenever he came across new children who had ended up in Eden, he'd go up to them. He distributed food and clothes, and if he thought it necessary, he'd guide them to an almshouse. If they didn't want to go, Edward still paid them their share of affection. The only regrettable thing is that the places he frequents are somewhat distant from the meeting place Goneril told me about. Nevertheless, they were both places within Eden at the end of the day. The traveling distance wasn't that significant. After we finished making our usual rounds, Edward turned to me, his brows furrowed.
To tell you the truth, I have a request for you. Would that be all right?
Of course. What might it be?
Honestly, I was torn about whether I should even ask. This place isn't an appropriate area for ladies to walk about. But the conferences are approaching the final stretch, the most hectic period, and I have numerous other tasks preceding the exhibition.
Are you going to ask me to come here on your behalf by myself? Because that's the golden ticket. I've got a golden ticket.
It'll be difficult for me to visit, but I don't want to be absent too long.
In other words, when you're unavailable, my lord, I may fill your shoes. Have I interpreted correctly? I cut to the chase to usher him out of his doubt. Wow. After a breath, Edward nodded.
I would like to request that of you, yes. Is it too much to ask?
I had the urge to pounce on his convenient proposal, but I had to act surprised and uncertain to win this. If taking on this task will be of help to you, Lord Edward, I'll happily see to it. But I'm unsure whether I have the skills.
I can only make this request because I know I can rely on you. I've been amazed by your effectiveness and your consideration. And not only are you an excellent worker in the estate, your skills even shine in places like these. I'm quite impressed.
Thank you, my lord. If you have faith in me, I shall invest all my efforts into fulfilling this duty.
Thank you. You're a lifesaver. But when you visit, you can limit yourself to going around the places we've been together. Actually, you mustn't tread anywhere else. My presence deters ne'er-do-wells, but you don't know who might trouble you alone. Regrettably, it's the most undeniable truth that many parts of Eden aren't safe, especially the street on the other side. Better to avoid it.
The direction Edward then indicated was exactly the direction of the Twilight Raven's hideout. Naturally, I'll disregard that advice. But to Edward I merely nodded. My thoughts churned at a dizzying speed as I contemplated how I should discuss this with John. A few days later, my opportunity arrived at last. It was the day I would visit Eden alone. After I loaded the carriage with the rations Edward had entrusted me with, the man himself went out of his way to see me off.
Thank the heavens I can turn to you for help, but you don't have to stay long. If you ever feel unsafe, you can come back right away.
I know. I'll act with utmost caution, so please rest assured. Besides, you already know that I know how to protect myself to a certain degree, yes? I smiled to seem playful. Edward lifted the corner of his lips with a smile of his own. I'm just saying, I don't know how. Are we gonna, this, I feel like we are, playing this man's emotions. And I'm like, I know we're in Linus's route, but we are flirting so hard. And, we're like, oh, yes, I'm being sweet and nice. And it's like, we're trying to endear ourselves over here. And I feel like this would have been the great one to have an ending where we have our thruple ending. I really hope we get another one of them. I hope the Alfred Lucas one was not the one, and I hope we get a Linus Edward one. And then Ascot John one. I need it. I need this. And it would make more sense to say do it after Edward's route, you know what I mean? Kind of so you wouldn't really see it coming, kind of like they did it with Alfred and Lucas, but So, okay, but wait a minute. I want to see something, though. Alfred to Lucas to Linus. Oh, then Ascot Edward. And okay. So, their original one was switching Edward and Ascot, but okay, she switched them. So I'm wondering, hold on, I want to see something. Let's go scroll down to our ends. Tragic and well, she doesn't have the note on the endings there like she did on Lucas's, where it was like, this is a bad end. I want to see if Edwards has one. I'm just going to scroll to where our bad ends are. Nope. Wait. No, it doesn't say that either. Damn it. I was really hoping we'd get another one. What? You know, the game sets you up. It gives you a thruple ending, and you're like, all right. And then it doesn't follow through with giving you like that for everybody. All I'm saying is, you can't do that. That's against the rules. There are rules. Okay? And one of the new rules is there should be a CG of every single love interest in every game at the end, just a bonus one, of them in glasses. And Battlefield Waltz set us up for that, so I feel like every single game now has to do this, or I'm going to take a point off. Okay? Right? And also, if you give us a thruple ending between two characters, at one point, you got to do that for everybody else. You got to do it. Like, it doesn't have to be like, okay, now you have one with Alfred and Edward, and then there's one with Edward. No, you don't have to do that, but you got to pair them off. Like, everybody, there's 6 love interests here. We need at least 3 thruple endings with little pairs. I don't care how you want to divvy it up, but you've set up the expectation. You now need to follow through it. So this could have been a 10 out of 10 game, but you're going to lose 2 points right away because you're not going to give me glasses on every. Listen, I know what I like, okay? But I understand the glasses thing is just a me problem, and okay, fine. But I do feel like I don't think I'm alone in saying that glasses on everyone. I think there's a lot of people who would agree with me, but I get that that's a slightly unreasonable request. Slightly. Okay, fine. But if you give us a thruple ending, you need to follow through and give us more. Okay? And I do feel like every single game should always have a harem ending when you're with everybody. Every game. There should be a harem ending. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, there should be a one where you go through and you click certain answers and you balance out the love interests, and then there's just an end, like where you would normally be like, oh, I chose the wrong thing, and just get a quick bad end, and it would be a quick thruple ending, like a harem ending, and it'd be like, oh, well, we couldn't decide, so we're all together, and it would just be like a little ridiculous, and, maybe it doesn't have a ton of plot, but it doesn't need plot. The plot is man harem. So, I'm just saying, I'm looking out for everybody who plays the Tome games, right? CGs of everybody in glasses, as well as automatic harem ending. Again, it doesn't, that should just be standard in every Atome game. Okay, so like when I am the emperor of the universe, I will give us those things. Okay, these are laws. I will put these laws into place. Emperor Spacey says this is... Listen, ain't no one gonna complain about that shit, okay? I'm giving you bonus stuff. We're not taking anything away. We're adding. Okay? So, anyway. I read that. Right. You certainly do. That said, even if you are the most dependable young lady in the world, I will still be concerned about you. Still smiling, Edward took my hand in one seamless movement, and then... I won't say this as a substitute for Lucky Charm, but I hope you'll accept it as a gesture of my feelings. Did he just... And he did a little ummed. Oh! Edward gingerly kissed the back of my hand after receiving my consent, his gaze warm. Did we just jump ship and end up in an Edward ending? Excuse me? Excuse me? But this is what I'm saying. How are we not going to end up in a... This would be the route to actually have a throuple ending, because I feel like right now, we just... He's kissing our hand in like a gesture of my feeling. This ain't friendly. So all I'm saying is a little too friendly, if you know what I mean. Take care during your visit, Space. I promise I'll make time for you after your return, so please tell me how things are. Yes, I will. Satisfied with my response, Edward flashed me another dazzling smile before going back inside, saying it was time for the conference. I gotta be honest. Part of me now, okay, listen, I know I complained in the last part because you can't leave a giant loophole of like Linus figuring out maybe who we are because we mentioned the ears when we saw them a week ago. Okay, it was probably a couple days in the game, but whatever, you know what I mean. Like that, I don't like that. Like, I just feel like that's, I don't want to say bad writing, it's somebody not remembering their plot well. And like, you can't put a plot point in that then you just tell us to pretend we didn't see when you know there was a 50-50 chance we saw that scene. So you know what I mean? Like, you can't do that. That's negligent writing. That's like, it's not good. You know what I mean? So, but like, that's just annoying in the, I don't like that I feel like you didn't pay enough attention to what you were writing type of a thing. But this I don't like because it's like, this breaks my heart. Whose heart are we going to break here? Like, but I kind of love it at the same time, but I hate it. Because, like, poor Edward. We're going to get the good ending with Linus, and Edward's going to be like, no, it's fine. Even though he's starting to have, I feel like he's starting to have the feels. And we are just like, ding, 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 ding. We're stringing this motherfucker along. Oh, sweetie, you're never going to get the carrot. We're just dangling it in front of you. Oh, it's so mean. But then I also partially hope we get an ending where we're with Edward instead of Linus, and that's one of the bad endings for Linus. And because you'd think it'd be a bad ending technically for her, because she'd be like, I'm not in love with Edward, but I did it to hurt Linus, so I'm, you know, like how we decided to go marry Alfred instead of marrying, like, Lucas. You know what I mean? You know? Anyway. Also, my brain just went, did I call Alfred Albert at one point? My brain always wants to call him Albert for some reason sometimes. I'm always like, Alfred. I'm like, no, it's Alfred. I'm right. But, like, I sometimes feel like I want to call him Albert for some reason. I don't know why. Like, I've caught myself when I think about the game sometimes and being like, why did I just think Albert in my head? Like, so my brain literally just went, did I call him that, like, earlier or yesterday? Like, wait a minute. Wow. Maybe not. Maybe I was thinking it in my head, but, like, I don't know why. But it's the same thing. My brain likes to reverse things. I don't know. There's something seriously wrong with my brain. It should be studied. I've had MRIs and my brain is great, but I don't know if I believe that. Like, it looks okay, but have you seen it function? Because it's functioning a little fucked up, but anyway. Oh my god. As if it had been waiting for Edward to leave, the watch in my pocket grew restless. I already have an idea what he's so eager to talk about. Sighing in the carriage that departed, I fished out my pocket watch. The next moment, Oberon burst out and obsessively pecked at my hand, the one Edward had kissed. Ooh. Hey, don't tell me that got to your head. What are you talking about? I played the fool, but Oberon continued his questioning game. He kissed you, didn't he? I thought you set your sights on that hound, but are you going to switch over to the young gentleman? Oberon's asking the questions we're all wondering, like, the fuck is going on here? Well, nothing wrong with having more pawns. He's a sylph. By nature, once he convinces himself of something, he won't budge. Squeeze every drop of worth out of him. Yes, I completely agree. I'm only using him as a tool, so don't say that it got to my head, even as a joke. I do like that, though, that they're like, once he's got an idea in his head, he doesn't let it go. And it's like, that's going to be kind of... I can see how they could lean into that in his route. Like, I got a vague picture. Like, because you know what I mean? Like, everyone's got, like, a little dark, sinister... Like, you know what I mean? Like, Lucas's darkness was, like, I mean, obviously he helped murder his best friend, but it's a sadness. It's a tragic sad. You know what I mean? And like Alfred's is like, oh, he killed our family, and he's like, okay, whatever, but he's willing to die and let us kill him for it. It's like a little tragic, but still there's that, like, oh, I mean, we know they're all involved somehow. Like Linus being over here, like, he's gotta be an obedient dog, but also like he's a little bit of a psycho underneath when he gets in that obedient dog thing, and you're like, okay. And you're like, Edward just seems like a little ball of sunshine who is going to be like, you're mine, I will put you in a cage. Is he going to be the cage one? Because, like, these just seems like a little cinnamon bun. But then that line, that throwaway line that's like, when he sets his mind to something, fuck if you're going to get him off of it. It's like, oh, he's going to be that clingy, possessive one that's going to literally lock me in a cage to keep me away. Okay. All right. You know what I mean? Like, are you going to play up on that? Like, where you're like, I thought you were nice and sweet and a cinnamon bun, and like, you're like a cinnamon bun with a jalapeno in the middle. What the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the inside of the cinnamon bun should be something a little bit more enjoyable with a cinnamon bun, but unexpected, not a jalapeno. But you know what I'm saying? Like, like, if I look too excited, it's because everything's going according to plan. And indeed, there was a small curl on my lips that said what mattered was how I maneuvered from here on out, so I sharpened my focus. Also, like, sometimes when she's like, don't get it twisted, I'm just thinking of this, and you're like, bullshit, you enjoyed that little kiss, you flirty whore. But because it's Edward, and we're not in his route, I fully believe her 100% here. If it was Linus that did it, she'd be like, don't get it twisted. You'd be like, no, okay, nobody's getting it twisted but you. You know. You'd be like, yeah, you're trying to fight against the fact that you enjoyed it. With Edward, I 100% believe she's like, I'm glad he's falling for my trap, and she feels nothing, so. It's time to head to Eden. John's waiting for me. Better seize your chance. Whilst careful. Whistling. Wow, I can't read right now. Whistling carefreely, Oberon flitted up and prepared to disappear into the watch. As you wish, I'm closing in on the Queen, so I'm sure you won't have any complaints no matter my method, right? As if I wasn't mistaken, a cheerful flapping of wings was a response to my whisper. After my arrival, I was distributing supplies to the Eden folks like we always did while I glanced at the carriage that waited for me. After confirming that the driver wasn't looking at me but at a newspaper, I changed my route in the most natural manner I could. This is my first time going this deep into Eden, but I've memorized the map Goneril gave me, and above all else, I'm not alone, and this is the corner.
That's all smooth sailing.
I had John by my side, walking next to me. We began our conversation without even needing to look at each other. And look, if we're going to make fun, I know it's a total random thing, but it's like, because it's been a while since we've pointed out John's little Boy Scout uniform. But I just want to point out John's Boy Scout uniform again. Because I'm like looking at all his Boy Scout badges, and I'm just like, I don't focus enough on your little Boy Scout jacket and hat. You know what I mean? Like, you look like you're going to go scouting in Australia. I don't know what it is. What is it? Is it the Crocodile Dundee kind of hat going on? Like, what is it that is like, you're going scouting in the Australian outback? I don't know. I feel like it'd be hot, though, with the jacket, but still. Oh, like, if we're going to make fun of Alfred's show pony outfit, I love my little show pony, okay? I love him. And I love his little show pony attitude, and I love his little best in show ribbons. I love everything about it. But we got to talk about our Boy Scout over here. Like, literally. In all his Boy Scout badges. Like, I wish I could lean closer. The bird is comfortable. Well, there's one for birding. That's the one in the middle. The flower one looks like, okay, that's gardening. I can't quite tell what's on the top one to be like what he got that badge for. And we can't see the ones on his right side. But, still. I'd noticed for a while that he'd been nearby, so I was able to walk confidently, even in supposedly high-risk areas. We can only say that it's smooth sailing after we managed to find that Leonardo.
What should we do after that? It's too dangerous to reveal our situation during a first meeting.
I'll bring up up that pickpocket child for negotiations. Since he calls himself an info broker, he must know how I rescued that boy. It was at this point when I noticed someone standing ahead of us down the street. A child? There's a boy there. Most of the children in Eden fell under two categories. They were either extremely jumpy or outwardly distrustful of others. But the closer we got, the clearer it was that this boy was an outlier. How do I describe him? He holds his head up high. Plus, though he's dirty, his attire isn't as worn compared to the others.
What business do you have here? If you want to go any further, you need my approval first. That's the rule.
After waiting for us to get closer, the boy spoke. He was utterly cheeky, and from what he said, I had a hunch about his identity. This is a special place that requires permission to enter? Looks like an ordinary street.
Of course it's just a plain old street, but outsiders that don't got business are annoying.
The boy paused there to scrutinize me from head to toe.
I know about you, miss. I've seen you pretty often around here lately. You're Bernstein's maid, aren't you? But the people living here ain't looking for the charity of the oh-so-honorable nobles. Didn't your lord tell you to stay away?
John, who had been watching as a silent observer, spoke up then in a steady tone.
We didn't come here for Bernstein errands. We're looking for someone. Looking for someone? In a place like this? She knows the situation of that someone's friend and wants to pass on that he's safe.
Seeing that the child was wary, John softened his speech. Given that he often helped with Goneril's work, it was only natural that he could adjust the pace of the conversation. Following John's example, I warmed my tone and crouched down to meet the boy's eyes. There was a boy who stirred up a fuss near the opera house a while ago, right? I want to bring back news that the boy's doing well. He's living in an almshouse that has the backing of Lord Edward Bernstein. At that, the youth finally let down his guard. He blinked and squinted at me again.
In that case, you weren't just the maid, but also the gal who saved him during that ruckus? Tommy mentioned you.
Yes, that would be me.
Huh. 'Kay. And? Who'd you want to pass this message to? A person called Leonardo. We don't just want to talk to him about the child. We have various other topics to discuss. We aren't his enemies. In fact, we figured that there's something we could help each other with, which brought us here today.
The boy looked pensive for a moment. Eventually, he placed a hand on his hat and gazed at us with solemn eyes.
I'm that Leonardo. Judging by what you said, you know what I've been busy doing, don't you?
So it was him after all. I suspected that may be the case from his speech and attitude. Still, frankly, he was younger than I expected. However, he was an info broker, so he wasn't the leader of the Twilight Ravens. I want to talk to you because of this knowledge. Not as a House Bernstein maid, of course, but as individuals. Leonardo looked somewhat appalled.
I know we both got our own reasons and stuff going on, but have you realized that you're skating on real thin ice?
I'm aware, yes.
That's why I'm keeping an eye out.
As John and I replied in perfect harmony, Leonardo smirked.
Huh, you two are an interesting pair. Well, I don't mind a chat, but it's been pretty unsettling even around here lately.
You mean, in terms of street safety? I thought it a bit bizarre. I thought it a bizarre thing for him to say, having likely only ever lived in Eden, but...
Run, Leonardo! The dogs have come again! Shh, speak of the devil!
The surroundings burst alive. Other than the child that called out to Leonardo, several shadowy figures rushed out and away. Don't tell me.
Saves me the trouble explaining. Those dogs from Ward have been real eager to catch folks related to the Twilight Ravens. So yeah, I'm hightailing it out of here. I think you guys will get in big trouble too. Just for being here, by the way.
How could they have such disastrous timing? His light is here too. Not giving me any time to calm my racing heart, numerous sets of footsteps approached. This alley was too narrow. If the three of us fled together, one would be arrested without a doubt. There was no time for hesitation, shoves John and runs. I'll act as a decoy. While I keep them distracted, the two of you get to safety.
Lady!
I'm the only one among us with a valid excuse for being here. Understand? I hissed to cut off any further objections. After a brief moment of hesitation, John whispered in a strained voice,
No matter what, don't let them confiscate your watch. Contact me. If anything goes wrong, I'll come to your rescue.
I'm counting on it. Just as I was about to turn on my heel, I suddenly recalled the weapon I equipped on my thigh. I quickly pulled my skirt up to get it. John's like, ah! He's like, girl, there's a child here. Also, I'm a Victorian man seeing or wearing ankle boots, I'm sure, but he's seeing kneecaps. Hold on to this for me, please. Better to be safe than sorry. I handed over my knife and knife belt. The moment they left my hands, I didn't hesitate to break into a run. Throwing a smile in John's direction, I turned my back to the pair. Purposely letting my steps fall loudly, I rushed out to the street. When I sprinted out of the alley, for a moment, I felt as if the sunset burned my eyes. As my sight adjusted, I understood how I'd come to that delusion. Oh, look, he's got wings and fuzzy ears! But the thing is we're running out of an alley where someone's chasing us. I mean, to be fair, I was giving out, so I was helping Edward, and I was here, and then, the people were running, and I heard kids screaming, and so I ran. Legitimately, you wouldn't just stand there, people would be like, run! And you'd be like, why? You know what I mean? Fair enough. Linus was in front of me, but different from the Linus I was familiar with. I mean, I figured he'd have wings too, but, they're always so pretty. I'm gonna guess that the thing that we see is supposed to be like a piece of his wing. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like a full wing. It looks like the top. But I mean, I guess technically when they say wings, I would think of this as a pair of wings, 2 wings, but they think of it as 4, I guess, pieces. You know what I mean? Like your top wing and your bottom wing are separate. Because I guess even with a butterfly, the top and the bottom are kind of not connected. So it's 4 wing pieces that make up 2 wings. Anyway. But it's cute that he's got wings and fuzzy ears. Wings unfurled, he glared at me with eyes of fire, like the embodiment of the sun itself, a beast about to pounce on its prey. He's revealed his wings, which means that he came here to capture the Twilight Ravens with everything he's got. When I took in my surroundings, I spotted men, ward subordinates, restraining a handful of men and women.
Shall we seize this girl as well? Before that, she'll explain herself.
Linus's clipped exchange was frosty. I couldn't be optimistic about the situation. Moreover, Linus didn't show the slightest smile as he closed the distance between us. It was clear that he wasn't giving me any openings.
Space, what are you doing here?
I was engaging in charity work on behalf of Lord Edward. I went around distributing food and clothing.
Of course I know that Ed does that stuff. I'm also aware that you've been helping him out. But the alley you just rushed out from is somewhere the 2 of you don't usually go. I hope you're not underestimating me. I'll ask again. What are you doing here?
An ordinary explanation won't do the trick then. So, what should I do? Unable to gather my thoughts, I began to speak and hoped I'd find a chink in his armor along the way. I called out to a child, intending to give him some bread, but the child ran away. Because I followed, I entered the street I wouldn't normally visit. You're like, I chased him. Oh God, I feel so guilty. Lord Linus, why are you so convinced that I came here for a reason other than Lord Edward's errand? Linus narrowed his eyes by a margin before curling his lips in a thin, sardonic smile.
The places you've showed up all have something in common. The almshouse, here. Both of them have a connection with the Twilight Ravens that we're pursuing.
You're like, the what? Oh.
I mean, you can't pretend you don't know who they are. I can't bring myself to write it off as a coincidence. But are you going to insist that you're unrelated?
Apparently, right now, not even Edward's name could be my shield against Linus's suspicion. This man was confronting me as the next leader of the Kus Sith clan. In that case, I had to fight back head on. You won't believe me no matter what I say, will you? Then, I shall lay my secret bare before you. I inhaled shallowly and sharpened my gaze, compelling my face to show fake emotion, I stared right into Linus's eyes. Okay, I was like, was she gonna like tell him who she is right now? Because interesting, but show fake emotion. Okay, so maybe not. Lord Linus, you asked before whether I was interested in you. You were completely right. It's kind of funny because it's kind of stupid. Like, the whole like, I mean, you asked before. I'm like, oh, hi. Oh my God. Like, in a flirt. And like, he is in war mode right now. So I just feel like he's not going to be swayed by you throwing out lusty advances. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, okay. All right. I mean, what else does she have? What do you mean? What are you getting at? I have special feelings for you, my lord. How could I ever do something that would make me your enemy? What? You're saying you like me, so there's no way you'd side with anti-royalists? That can't be true. I mean, it's not, but also it's like, what? It's so funny. That can't be true. That I wouldn't side. That if I was in love with you, I wouldn't go against. Like, I mean, fair enough. That's the best cover, but as expected, Linus was slightly shaken. This time I stepped forward, closing our distance. She's not really lying, because she kind of is into him, but she still wants to stab him more. Even if you don't believe me, my feelings won't change. If you declare that nothing I do can convince you, do with me as you see fit. So please, my lord. Beneath my doctored emotions, genuine sorrow welled up inside me and slid down one cheek as a tear. I continued to implore Linus with my gaze. Though his icy expression didn't melt, he let out a profound sigh. If you're willing to go that far, then I suppose you can come with me. I'll interrogate you elsewhere. I do not want to know how you're going to interrogate me, or do I? I'm like, I don't want. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. What am I even saying? I'm concerned. Looks like I'm not out of the woods yet. I didn't yet have any leverage over him. Though I had my face-side hand, using it to stand off against the house ward was too risky. Using it against all of House Ward, sorry. As for other options I had, there was only one thing I could utilize. His feelings for me. But even that's becoming more of a gamble. Yeah, because it's like we're in the middle of a conference, so you go to do things, and yet he's always showing up wherever you are. You know what I mean? Like, why is he here? Why is he here trying to get the Ravens when he should be at the conference? That's why you're here without Edward. So it's like, I mean, it's not super far-fetched because it's like, obviously, like, that's the point. Like, whatever. You've got to contrive reasons for him to bump into us. But it is a little odd and convenient that he is never. But then again, there are times he's like, nope, the queen asked me for that. The queen did that. So sometimes he's always dipping out anyway. So fair enough, I guess. But oddly convenient that you always just seem to find me when I'm at, like, when I'm doing sus shit, Linus. What the fuck? I do, and will always put my mission above all else. That's the destiny of those born with the blood of Kusith. Everything I do is for the sake of Her Majesty. I'll do anything it takes. This is the one and only thing that defines me. Whether you're similar to my first crush or not, no matter what my feelings are for you, that's the one thing that can never change. Again, can never change because he doesn't have the ability to change it that he knows of. When I reflected on what he'd said before, my confidence wavered. My outlook was grim. Still, I had to bet on that tiny sliver of hope. After I was taken away to the Ward townhouse, I wasn't treated harshly in any particular way. But that didn't mean that I was treated with hospitality either. I was locked in the room I'd been nursed back to health in before. After a lengthy wait, Linus showed up. Just flashing that tiny little sliver of tummy, whore. Are you trying to fluster me? Sorry it took so long. I had to question the others we escorted from Eden first. I wouldn't say they cooperated, but once we applied more persuasive methods of asking, all of them spilled everything they knew. There's a smile on his lips, but it doesn't reach his eyes. It's obvious what those persuasive methods involved. They told them everything they knew, but yet nobody has ever told you about Alfred. So, during the wait, I'd contacted John, but as expected, he too knew it was difficult to infiltrate the Ward estate by oneself. I had to overcome this crisis by myself. Imagining what might be in store for me had me quailing, but I couldn't afford to lose the wind in my sails here.
The only bad news is that everyone we captured today are inconsequential personnel. We weren't able to obtain the information we wanted. So I suspect you may be the key for our progress. Am I right?
He's not. I know nothing about the doings of the Twilight Ravens. Yet. That said, out of all the others out there, I likely had the most to lose by being found out. I geared myself up for another battle of words. Do you doubt my feelings for you after all? I'd be like, I don't know anything about the Twilight Ravens aside from the information that's been put out there in the papers.
Feelings can't be seen. To believe you because of a reason like that is a bit much. Or do you have some means of proving your feelings?
Whoa! You are blackmailing me into sex now, sir! What the fuck? I don't want to do it as a means to an end. There's no other way out of this mess. I need to do this. I didn't know if this was the right way to go. I had no confidence at all, but in this dire moment, I couldn't come up with anything else. I'd be like, you know what? If you want to think that I'm guilty, fine. You can torture me all you want, but you're not going to get answers because I don't know anything about the Twilight Ravens, and you're a dick. I truly have special feelings for you, my lord. If I didn't, I could never do this. And the thing is, though, she could actually be like, all right, I'm going to turn off my hatred and I'm going to pull out that little girl inside me that had feelings for this boy. And then, like, you know what I mean? Demurely whispering my declaration, I stood on my tiptoes and leaned in for a gentle kiss. He isn't blushing, but there seems to be a small shift in his expression. Before I could interpret what his expression meant, Linus seized me by my shoulders.
Lord You think too little of me.
Stating that dispassionately, Linus gave my shoulders a hard shove. Stumbling from his force, I tumbled onto the bed behind us. Oh no. I was like, oh, he's going to stop us from kissing him. And then I was like, is he going to shove us on the bed and go, and get real fucking handsy? Because he's like, you think a kiss is going to do it? You could kiss anybody, but you're not going to do just anybody. Oh, dear Lord.
If you want to prove it, it's pointless unless you go this far, at least.
You know what? I don't know. I mean, on one hand, bravo game, what the fuck? Because, holy shit. But also, I mean, Linus, what the fuck? How?
You want to prove you have feelings for me? Then sleep with...
What kind of bullshit man logic is this? Rude! The audacity! Hands off me, sir! But at the same time, damn game, what the fuck? Game! Shit! What the fuck? Okay. Oh, we're getting a CG, aren't we? Oh, God, yeah, okay. Oh, hello! Hello, whose thighs are out? Look at this shit! Oh, he got his hand... hello! Hello! And that's why she took off her knife, because now he gonna be filling her up. He would have found that knife and he would have been like, the fuck is this? She's like, all the better to stab you with! This would be the time to stab him. But hot damn! I'm not moaning for her, but or him. The next thing I knew, Linus got on top of me and pushed his lips to mine and pushed your skirt up. Damn. It wasn't a fleeting, gentle kiss like mine. It was merciless and ferocious, as if he were biting me. I mean, I'm here for this. I'm into it. Linus is not my love interest at all. He's too baby-faced, but I love the juxtaposition where they're like, he's sweet and innocent and adorable, but actually a psycho, and he gonna just what the fuck? The ball's on you, sir. Brav fucking oh, okay? Oh, I am not moaning and groaning, but that's what's happening here. He caught my lips countless times. I couldn't find an opening to breathe. Unable to open my eyes, I was completely at his mercy until he's trembling? I realized that Linus's lips quivered more and more during his rough movements. When I gingerly cracked open my eyes, I found a shaking amber gaze staring back at me. Space, do you truly like me? I mean, if I didn't, I would absolutely hate you right now for this. Yes, I do. For some reason I couldn't explain, when I held his eye contact, overwhelming heartache assaulted me. Because he's like looking at you all sadly because he wants you to like him, and then you kind of do because you remember the boy he was, and you do kind of have feelings for him, but you still want to stab him, and you're afraid of him, and it's like a weird fucking whirlpool that's going on, so. Is it my guilt for lying to him? Or is it because I was unable to figure out my own feelings. When he leaned down again, I meekly met his lips without struggle. His kiss this time was careful. Even the hand pressing me down was felt incredibly tender. Oh, I'm not moaning. There's a lot of moaning! Before I knew it, I returned his kiss, wanting to understand the passion on his lips. Linus's heat was flush against me. From his lips, his fingertips, his entire body, a warm but heart-rending emotion overtook me. I must be going crazy, but I can't help but feel that it's as if he truly loves me. Feeling Linus's soft, cherishing kisses, I had the urge to return the same. The world melted away while we exchanged kisses, and it's also slightly inappropriate because he's a lord and you're a maid. Like, woo! The naughtiness. I hoped I could convey these inexplicable feelings through the touch of our lips, through our shy gazes as they intertwined. Wrapped up in these emotions, I never noticed my pocket watch fall onto the ground. Uh-oh. The judgment! The look of judgment on this bird's face! I'm sorry. My pocket watch fell to the ground and I was like, well, I mean, that's fine if he sees it. And I was like, uh-oh, Oberon. And then it just transitioned right to Oberon. And there was something about the beady, he's just got beady eyes, but there was a look of like, just utter disgust. The judgment and the disgust on this face right now is so fucking funny. Oh, don't judge me, bird. Oberon's like, through the eyes of the robin, the Fae King had a front row seat to it all, and beyond the visible reality, he could see the inner workings of her heart. Oh, this is if you get the job done, I got no complaints about how you accomplish it. But this is a stretch, don't you think? An exasperated smile played at his lips. The emotions of mortals were troublesome things, but at the same time he could empathize. I suppose I can understand being fixated on someone, but since you made a contract with me, you better fulfill your part. Don't get your priorities wrong, Spacey. It's your duty to bring me to Tia's side. He's watching like, girl, the hell? Oberon, maybe close your fucking eyes. This is not the threesome we were looking for, okay? After I don't know how many kisses, Linus's fingertips slid beneath the hem of my skirt. Damn. I froze at the sensation of fingers brushing my skin. Linus's amber eyes locked with mine. I mean, hot damn. Don't have what it takes to go this far? That is blackmail! I do. Though I answered so, the storm of indecipherable emotions inside me were far from resolute. I mean, like, she's like right now in the, do I actually have feelings for him? Like, I don't know, like and then she's like kissing him back, sure. But this, you're in that like, maybe I'm into it, and like there's a difference between kissing someone and being like, yeah, let's fuck. Like, I don't think she's there yet. I don't think she's ready for, and then you trying to push that is like, that's a dick move, sir. What the hell? Holy shit. But if I reject him here, I won't be able to convince him, right? Did I make this decision to achieve my goal, or was I simply answering the call of my heart? See, she doesn't know what she's feeling. She's like, I don't know. I might actually be into him, but if she was like, "Well, I'm into him, so sure, fine." Or you were like, "Not into him, but I'm totally going to manipulate the fuck out of him." Fine, and you were making that logical decision. But like where she is, this is not a good time for that. She's going to be like, "You kind of manipulated me, you bastard." And then he's going to deserve getting stabbed just a little. I mean, aside from helping kill my family, but also this. My mind was a mess, but I inhaled, preparing to tell him he could keep going. But then, I'm not going to do anything, any more than I've already done anyway. But I can't release you either. Whispering into my ears, Linus embraced me. I can't say I have complete faith in your feelings. And even if your love is genuine, I can't use that as grounds to judge that you aren't my enemy. And that's why I can't afford to let you go. You'll have to stay here until you're cleared of all suspicion. I understand. Hearing my calm reply, Linus peered into my face. Then, let's sleep like this today. I'm a little tired. Like this? Wait, in the same bed? When he'd said he wasn't going to let me go, I hadn't expected it to be literal. My shock gave Linus the opportunity to hug me closer. Good night, Space. Huh? He's already asleep? My eyes widened at his steady breathing, but because he was hugging me, I couldn't see his face. Linus seemed to be fast asleep, but the strength in his arms didn't wane. I could only stay still in his grip. I can't fall asleep like this. My heart's making such a racket. Especially now, his warmth made me restless. And in retrospect, as I thought about what we had done, my pulse quickened even more. I felt the pounding of my heart in my temples, but strangely enough, when I felt the beat of Linus's heart from his chest, it was pleasant. Gradually, my pulse matched his. It's peculiar. I don't dislike this sound. Though I was sure I wouldn't be able to fall asleep, I had closed my eyes before I knew it. Like, hot damn! Who's screaming? Ah! Oh, I'm assuming, okay, Linus or somebody. What's that? How much time had passed since I'd fallen asleep? I couldn't guess. I opened my eyes in a daze at someone's anguished voice. Run! Please get away! Spacey! What? When Linus called out my name, my real name, I snapped awake with a start. Oh, so, because that's what I thought with the screaming. I'm like, it's probably him, but then I'm like, is he dreaming? Yes, okay, so yes. Has Linus realized my identity after all? Wanting to escape from his embrace, I pulled away from him. This time his arms unraveled readily. Startled, I peered into Linus's face, keeping my distance. His eyes were still shut. He knitted his brows together with distress. I'm sorry, Spacey, This wasn't what I'm sorry. What are you talking about? Without thinking, I blurted those words. Nevertheless, Linus showed no signs of waking. Run? I'm sorry? Though I already had a guess about what his dream was, I couldn't stop myself from wanting to confirm. Oh, using her face I'd hand on him. I mean, he's got to find out soon. And I should have every right to know. Thinking that I touched Linus's hand and activated my face sight. Like, I wonder if this is what's going to tell him who we are, but... We must report this to Her Majesty. Good job, Linus. She'll recognize you for this. No, I didn't do it because I wanted recognition. What do you mean? You told us the location of House Randolph, didn't you? I didn't mean to. I only wanted to tell you that there were people who saved me and were really nice to me. But I never thought she was a Randolph. Didn't even cross my mind. Okay, so Linus wasn't like, I told them, because he was like, I told you about the nice people, and they're like, good for you, you found the traitor, and he's like, what? So he didn't know who we were. Okay. All right, we didn't tell you the name of the girl, but that worked out in your favor. Our targets let down their guard completely. Thanks to that, we managed to locate them. Now then, we must head to the village as the advance team. The rest of the 5 houses should come out very soon, so it'd be ideal to know the more precise location beforehand. Linus, you'll guide us there, won't you? No, I can't do that. What? Are you refusing to serve the Queen? That's not what I meant, but still...
Whatever, I'm sure we can locate it by ourselves with this many clues. Let's move. All right. Wait, stop, please.
The breathing I heard was so frenzied that at first I hadn't realized it was mine. No matter how many times I inhaled, I still suffocated. It wasn't only backlash from my face sight. What I'd seen was so shocking that my body couldn't process it. Linus hadn't realized who I was. Then does that mean he never betrayed me? He never betrayed us? Yes, he did, but not on purpose. You know what I mean? It's an accidental. Like, and okay, I mean, I guess not really, because then to betray someone, well, I guess you can accidentally betray someone, right? Or would betraying only be like purposeful? Haha, I found you and I betrayed you. But he kind of did, but it was an accident. He's like, I found these nice people and blah, 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 and this girl's spacey, and they never told him the name of the people they were looking for, so he was totally clueless. And they're like, haha, got her! And he's like, fuck, I just betrayed her and I didn't even know I was doing it. So, like, technically yes, but also technically no. Like, not really. He had no intention of telling anyone who you were. You know what I mean? But he did lead to your family all dying. But again, it's the same thing with, like, Lucas. Lucas lured everyone into the center to be burned alive, but did it not of his own volition. And Linus told everyone just casually in passing, oh, hey, yeah, these nice people took me in, and blah, blah, blah. And then they were like, and then led to your downfall. But, you know. Linus! My tumultuous emotions took over. I called Linus's name and shook his shoulders, and slowly he opened his eyes. Space? Did something happen? When my eyes met with his, I regained a fraction of composure. Pausing to catch my breath, I did what I could to speak calmly. You were crying in your sleep, so I woke you. I wasn't sure if I should ask him outright, so... Do you have many nightmares? Do you often sleep poorly? I was like, do you have many nightmares? I'd ask about the nightmares, because you know what I mean? That's a little more like... You're going to get a little more information with that, I feel like. Save file 2. Okay. Well, save file 1, technically, because save file 1 was the one that we went back and we saw we got the CG from. So... This is technically our first save file. Okay, and actually the answer is, do you often sleep poorly? Okay, so. Do you often sleep poorly? You seem like you were in pain. I was worried. Yeah, see this little wing. Okay, that's what they are, they're wings. No, well, you've already seen it with your own eyes, so I guess there's no point trying to hide it. Yeah, I've never had a night where I could sleep soundly since my childhood. Ever since 8 years ago. But it's what I deserve. Something trivial like being unable to sleep is nothing. In fact, it's better to not sleep at all. Especially at night. Bad memories and old regrets attack me one after the other, like ghosts telling me I'm not allowed to rest. And that's why, when I can stay on the move, I want to keep going all day long. All night long until I can just collapse. We should have stopped when she woke him up, but I was just riveted to what was happening, so like... I knew when we went into his dream, I'm like, we're getting close to time, and here we are. Whatever. Ah, I see now. So that's why Linus always falls asleep so abruptly and naps so often. That fateful day left behind scars on Linus, too. With that almost fatal realization, yet another emotion began to sprout in my heart. As I digested his answer, a new question popped up in my mind. Before I could weigh off its risks, my mouth moved with a mind of its own. If one day your first crush appeared before you, what would you do, Lord Linus? Why are you asking that all of a sudden? I was fully aware that my inquiry had been abrupt and heedless. That was why I didn't respond to Linus's question. It appeared that Linus hadn't expected an answer either. He didn't speak a single word. In the dark room, we silently locked eyes. Eventually, Linus looked away from me and spoke slowly, choosing his words carefully. Good question. If she's alive, she must despise me, so I'm willing to accept any retribution, even if she kills me. Huh. Does that mean I can accomplish one of my goals now? If I reveal my identity, I can kill Linus? 1 day ago, I would have most certainly felt delighted by his response, but now do I really want to take Linus's life? He didn't betray me or my family. While I resumed my soul-searching, Linus continued his answer.
But then it'd be likely she resents the Queen, too. As a ward, I can't ignore any who bear malice against Her Majesty. And I don't mind her killing me, but if she had plans to assassinate the Queen, I would kill that girl.
I see. Oh, what did I get my hopes up for? The only future we have is mutual destruction. That was the ending fate decided at our encounter 8 years ago. It was something we couldn't avoid as long as he was a ward and I was the Queen's vessel. We found each other, separated, then reunited on a predetermined path. Nothing more. After recovering all these happy memories, after finding all these feelings and realizing I don't want to kill him, I have to force it all down and face him anyway. I cast down my gaze. The conclusion I arrived at was so straightforward, my heart was astonishingly calm.
I think I've said too much. I'll step out to cool my head.
Linus whispered, shattering the silence between us. He climbed off the bed and left the room. I watched his retreating back, then turned to the windows. A faint light leaked in from the curtains. Dawn was near. Is that a carriage? Even if it's near daybreak, it's too early for guests. It's Edward being like, "The fuck?" Mystified, I approached the window to learn the visitor's identity. It's going to be Edward, you know it is. Other side! Ooh, we're not finding about the other side! Until next time. So, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.